New Jersey Senator Cory Booker has thrown his hat into the 2020 race. Now, I have a short little breakdown here of who Cory Booker is. But first, I want to show you his campaign ad. Now, I will show you the full thing. It's about 2.5 minutes long. If you've already seen it, feel free to skip ahead. But if you haven't seen it, here's Cory Booker's campaign ad.
In America, we have a common pain, but what we're lacking is a sense of common purpose.
What's up? Amen.
I grew up knowing that the only way we can make change is when people come together. When I was a baby, my parents tried to move us into a neighborhood with great public schools, but realtors wouldn't sell us a home because of the color of our skin. A group of white lawyers who had watched the courage of civil rights activists were inspired to help black families in their own community, including mine. And they changed the course of my entire life. Because in America, courage is contagious. My dad told me, boy, never forget where you came from or how many people had to sacrifice to get you where you are. So over 20 years ago, I moved into the Central Ward of Newark to fight slumlords and help families stay in their homes. I still live there today, and I'm the only senator who goes home to a low-income inner-city community, the first community that took a chance on me. We are better when we help each other. The history of our nation is defined by collective action, by interwoven destinies of slaves and abolitionists, of those born here and those who chose America as home, those who took up arms to defend our country, and those who linked arms to challenge and change it. I believe that we can build a country where no one is forgotten, no one is left behind, where parents can put food on the table, where there are good-paying jobs with good benefits in every neighborhood, where our criminal justice system keeps us safe instead of shuffling more children into cages and coffins, where we see the faces of our leaders on television and feel pride, not shame. It is not a matter of can we. It's a matter of do we have the collective will, the American will. I believe we do. Together, we will channel our common pain back into our common purpose. Together, America, we will rise. I'm Cory Booker, and I'm running for President of the United States of America.
All right, there you go. Cory Booker announces his run for 2020. Now, this campaign ad is, in my opinion, the best campaign ad so far that anyone's put out for a run for 2020. It's well produced, has great imagery, but like all these campaign ads, like most of them, lacks policy substance. Now, it is sort of a general consensus that you shouldn't have specific policy or you shouldn't get too deep in the weeds in campaign ads. I don't agree with that, but it seems to be a general consensus, so I'm not sure. I don't think Cory Booker is purposely avoiding policy here. He does have a bit of a platform that I will get to more near the end of this video. But, I mean, overall, it's a campaign ad, so whatever. The real question is, who is Cory Booker? So the best way, I think, the best way to look at this is think of Cory Booker as two different people. There is the politician and there is the person. Now, Cory Booker as a person appears to be a really good person. So let me give you some examples of this. So in 2013, Newark Mayor Cory Booker saves neighbor from burning building. Now, this is the kind of headline that honestly, it reads almost like a joke. Like, oh, he saved a cat out of a tree, he ran into a burning building and saved a person. But it happened. I mean, Cory Booker in the past has been accused of trying to grab headlines. But in this case, he actually was treated for smoke inhalation, and he was treated for, I think, a burn on his hand. So he actually saved a lady from a burning building. Credit where it's due. He also, in 2010, was considered to be the mayor of Twitter and a Blizzard superhero. So this was when he was working around the clock on Twitter and in person to ensure that services were being sent to people around his city, that they were being dug out of this blizzard. And him and his staff also went around to different communities in his city to personally shovel snow and dig people out of their homes. So this, you could point to this one and be like, I think he's just trying to grab some headlines here. But at the same time, I mean, it worked. The fact that he did this does make him look like a good person. And I think, you know, as I said, as a person, I think he is a good person. He's a good Samaritan. But as a politician, let's look at this line that he said in his campaign ad. Courage is contagious. Okay, so we've seen that Cory Booker has the courage to walk into a burning building and save a person. He has the courage to go around a city and shovel snow. But does he have courage as a politician? Well, I don't know. So here's reporting from 2014. Booker gets more from Wall Street than any member of Congress. This is the beginning. This is the beginning of my takedown of Cory Booker. So Cory Booker has the courage to be a good Samaritan. He doesn't have the courage to be a good politician. He doesn't have the courage to fight back against big moneyed interests. And that continues with Wall Street to this day. So this is more recent reporting from this, or last month in January, on Wall Street. Wall Street executives are hearing from Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, and other Democrats as they gauge interest in possible 2020 presidential campaigns. So, again, he doesn't have the courage to fight back against big moneyed interests, even at a time when more and more people are aware of how detrimental that relationship between Wall Street and Washington is. So, one of the worst examples, though, from Cory Booker's past on this is when he defended bankers against attacks from Barack Obama. Watch.
This kind of stuff is nauseating to me on both sides. It's nauseating to the American public. Enough is enough. Stop attacking private equity. Stop attacking Jeremiah Wright. This stuff has got to stop, because what it does is it undermines, to me, what this country should be focused on. It's a distraction from the real issues.
So here, it's hard to find the entire clip here, but in this clip, if you look it up, Cory Booker was pushing back against Barack Obama's mild criticisms of private equity and comparing that to attacks that Republicans were launching on Obama's pastor, Jeremiah Wright, racist attacks. He was comparing them as if they were equal, as if critiques of Wall Street is the same as Republicans using racist attacks against Obama's pastor. Cory Booker, the only time he shows courage on Wall Street is when he has the courage to fight in the best interests of Wall Street against the best interests of the vast majority of people in America. Now, another area where he has shown courage, but on the wrong side, is his courage to fight for Big Pharma. So check out this reporting from 2017. Cory Booker joins Senate Republicans to kill measure to import cheaper medicine from Canada. Now, this was a Bernie Sanders amendment that Cory Booker voted against. And after he was caught, he did a complete reversal. But actually, before I get to that, let me show you why Cory Booker is on the side of, or at least was on the side, and you could argue still is on the side of Big Pharma. Booker and some of his Democratic colleagues who opposed the Sanders amendment are longtime friends of the drug industry. As MapBite data shows, Booker has received more pharmaceutical manufacturing cash over the past 6 years than any other Democratic senator, $267,000. In addition, a significant number of pharmaceutical and biotech firms reside in Booker's home state of New Jersey. So again, Booker doesn't have the courage to fight against the best interests of big money donors. And after getting caught, and so if you were around the internet when this happened, when Cory Booker voted against Bernie's amendment to import cheaper drugs from Canada, the internet exploded. And people were all over Cory Booker. I mean, writing articles about how this guy's a fake progressive, just article after article, criticism after criticism. And he heard it and decided to make a complete 180. So he then co-sponsored Bernie's bill to legalize drug imports from Canada. So here's Cory Booker, Bernie Sanders support plan to cut drug costs in U.S. Cory Booker, quote, "There is no reason that in any country as rich as ours, Americans should choose between paying for prescription drugs and food." So he had this amazing awakening after getting caught. and after all this negative media attention towards him for being on the side of Big Pharma. So what this shows me is that he has a natural inclination towards big moneyed interests and not towards people. He has to be fought on the issues to actually speak up for people. This is not the kind of fight you want when you have a president. You don't want to have to convince them to do the right thing. You want them to go in there already having a moral center, already understanding what people are going through and understanding how to fight back against the big interests, the big moneyed interests that have control over Washington. Now, apart from Big Pharma and Wall Street, I mean, there are a number of criticisms that have been leveled against Cory Booker. Here's a story from the Daily Beast from 2014. The ugly truth about Cory Booker, New Jersey's golden boy. Corruption scandals, skyrocketing crime, abandoned alleys. There are reasons why New Jersey is lukewarm about its own Senator Cory Booker, even while the rest of the country swoons. So there's a lot of questions about who Cory Booker would be if he became president. Because when he had the power as New Jersey's mayor, the city, apart from some nice headlines when he saved a lady or went around shoveling snow, people that had to deal with him as their mayor didn't love him. At least not, in the sense that you would hope somebody running for president would, the kind of support they would have as mayor. So we haven't seen in his past if he is as loved as he makes himself out to be. Now, his policy agenda for 2020, while it wasn't clear in the commercial, he does have some policy ideas, so I'm going to lay some of that out here. Here's a headline from Washington Post. Cory Booker's 2020 policy agenda: baby bonds, criminal justice reform, action on climate change. So I want to address the baby bonds specifically because this is an issue I didn't know much about until I saw that Cory Booker backed it. So baby bonds are essentially giving every kid in the country a savings account when they are born. And then every year that savings account grows until you are 18 to it can grow as high as $50,000. So not everyone's going to be able to have that much money in their savings account, but it depends on the income of the family. So if you are lower income, you get a little more money in your savings account that when you are 18 can be used towards specific things like going to college or putting a down payment on a house. Now, this I think is a great idea, but as I'm reading more about it, it is an easy target for Republicans. So it's the kind of thing where because the money isn't going to be there right away and it's an 18-year thing, at any time, lawmakers can come in and just completely get rid of it. So that actually happened in Britain. So they had a very similar idea. And then during the Great Recession, it was completely wiped out. So that same thing, even though this sounds like a good idea, and I think it is a good idea, it has the potential to easily be destroyed by Republicans. Now, that said, I don't think that's a reason not to pursue it, but that's just to keep in mind that even though this is a good idea, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will work. Now, he also supports, in addition to the headline here, he supports Medicare for All. So he's a co-sponsor on Bernie's Medicare for All bill. And he has some other strong policy ideas. I'll actually link to the Washington Post articles if you want to read through that. But I mean, the biggest issue here is the issue I also have with a lot of candidates that are running. Can we trust them on these positions? So when you have somebody with a history of bowing to big money interests and of not having the inclination towards being on the side of people, I mean, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it almost doesn't matter what Cory Booker or a lot of these politicians that have shown deference to big money and power, it almost really doesn't matter what they say because we've seen what their history shows. So again, when you have somebody giving in to big money donors, to special interests, even if you adopt the correct policy positions now, if you didn't show us the courage to fight for those positions in the past, then I don't know how people can possibly trust you to fight for them in the future.